In today's session, we are going to discuss about formula fields. So we have to understand what exactly a formula field, how can we configure formula fields in Salesforce, and upon creating this formula field, what is the data type that we need to choose, how can we prepare our own formula or expression which can be used to generate the value inside the field, and upon creating this formula field, what are the various functions that we can use which has been given by Salesforce? What is the functionality or what is the significance of each and every function? And what are the various return types the formula will support? And how to create the formula field, how to prepare simple formulas and the cross object formulas as well. We'll see with the practical use case. Now, so let me explain what exactly the formula field first. Now, for example, I have an object. For example, I have an object. It may be any object, standard or custom, anything, whatever it might be. For example, let's consider this is an account object. In my account object, we have few fields like ID field, name field, industry, and the annual revenue. These are the fields are available. I have ID field, name, industry, and the annual revenue. These are the fields are available. So this is my account object. So as part of this object, we are having these fields. ID, name, industry, and the annual revenue. These are the fields are available in my account object. Now let me place few records also. I would like to store few records inside my object. The first account record ID 001459900. Assume that this is the ID. Because that already we know account object ID is 001. Each account record ID will start with 001. That is the notation. Like as your bank account number. In the bank account number, whatever the account number that we have, in that account number, your branch code also included here. Whatever the branch from which you are operating your account, your branch code also, that means that IFSC code also included inside that account number itself. Like whenever we are having some mobile number here, in that mobile number, they are going to be including the sequence of that particular network service provider also. Now, here also, now we are having this account object ID is 001, that each account record ID will start with a 001. That concept already we know. During that record ID and the object ID's concept we have discussed. Name of the record here. His name is some Praveen Kumar. Industry is some insurance. Annual revenue some 18 lakhs. Second record 001 348821. Name some Anand Kumar. Industry is some manufacturing. Annual revenue some 20 lakhs. Third record ID 001. Now 290021. The name is some Santosh Kumar. Industry, some energy. Annual revenue, some 22 lakhs. Fourth record 001 78443132. His name is some Aman Tiwari. Industry, some banking. Annual revenue, some 20 lakhs. Fifth record 001 309987. Name is some Prakash. Industry, energy. Annual revenue, some 28 lakhs. Last record 001 279988. The name is some Abhinav Sharma. Industry, we are indicating as some communications. Annual revenue, some 30 lakhs. So these are the records are available. I have an account object. In my account object, I'm having 6 records are available. Okay, we have 6 records inside my account object. Each record contains the ID, name, industry, annual revenue values. Like that, we are having remaining field values also, like rating value, type value, ownership, phone number, fax number, address, everything is available here. I'm not going to discuss all those things. Now I'm taking this of 4 fields. Now in this case, as per the organization policy, so whatever the revenue the customer is generating right now, from this revenue, they have to pay 5% of that revenue as a service tax to the government. Whatever the revenue they are generating, from that revenue, 5% of the revenue they have to pay to the government as a service tax. That means I want to calculate the service tax for each customer. So from this revenue, whatever they are generating, from that revenue, 5% of the amount they have to pay to the government as a tax. Like because this kind of tax calculations are not only in this particular customers, everywhere we have. For example, assume that I'm going to a jewelry shop. I'm going to a jewelry shop. Now purchasing some gold ornaments. Now assume that my ornament cost is some 1 lakh rupee. 1 lakh. Whenever we are purchasing any gold ornaments, whatever the gold cost that we have, on that cost we have to pay 3% of that tax as the government tax to the government. That is 3% will be the GST. So if the gold ornament cost is 1 lakh, then the tax will be 3,000. So 1 lakh 3,000 rupees we have to pay. Now, for example, I went to a wardrobe showroom. That means a showroom here to buy some t-shirts and jeans. Whenever we are purchasing any item, for example, the bill amount is some 10,000 rupees. On that bill amount, I have to pay 18% of GST. 18% of GST we have to pay here. That means in this case, what will be that amount over here? 1800 rupees will be the GST. Total 11,800 rupees you have to pay. For example, I went to a restaurant in order to have some food. It may be breakfast or lunch or whatever, anything. Now the total bill cost is 2000 rupees. On that 2000 rupees, we have to pay 5% of the GST to the government over here. That means 500 will be the GST. So these are fixed values here, which we need to pay. Whenever we are taking any loans also, on the loans we have to pay some interest. Now, so like that here also every customer has to pay 5% of the revenue as service tax to the government here. Now, for example, when you go to the US also, in US, it may be any software employee, whatever the revenue they have generated, from that revenue they have to pay 33% of tax to the US government. They have to pay 33% of the tax to the US government. Now, This tax will be including the children's, okay, because the school fees is also everything. So now in that case here, because of this, okay, education, because of this tax, US government is providing the free education to the students. Now, so now in that case here, they are going to charging 33% of tax. Any employee, whatever the revenue they're generating from that revenue, 33% of the tax they have to pay to the government. Remaining amount they will be getting into their account automatically. Now, so in India also we are having income tax, but we are having different slab rates are available here. Based on that revenue which you are generating, we are paying some income tax to the government. So everywhere it will be common. Like the similar way here also, as part of this customer, whatever the revenue they're generating from that revenue, they have to pay 5% of that revenue as a tax to the government here. Then how can we calculate this tax? That means I would like to add one more field inside this object here. I want to add one more field inside my object here with the name service tax. I want to add a field with the name service tax. Now, what will be the service tax value here? 5% of that revenue. Whatever the revenue they're generating from that revenue, I would like to calculate 5% of that revenue. Now, tell me what is the formula we are going to use generally? I want to collect 5% of this revenue. How to do that? We have to use a formula generally. Annual revenue value into 5 whole divided by 100. So now from that annual revenue, we are collecting 5% of revenue here. This is the formula which we are going to use. Now here I'm generating this value here. Manually, we need to do this calculation. Suppose for example, I'm doing this calculation manually over here. I want to generate that service tax. So we can use a calculator. Through the calculator, we can able to generate this value. Now we are having this, okay, 18 lakhs is that, okay, the annual revenue. 5% of that revenue over here. That will be 90,000. 90,000 will be the tax amount over here. 5% of 80 lakhs means what here? 90,000. 20 lakhs. From this one, what is that revenue here? 20 lakhs. That will be 1 lakh. 22 lakhs. 1 lakh 10,000 will be the tax. Here 20 lakhs. 1 lakh. Now here we are having 28. 1 lakh 40,000 will be the tax. 30 lakhs. 1 lakh 50,000 will be the tax. That means what? We are doing this calculation. How? By using a calculator. We can take a calculator. With the help of the calculator, we can apply the formula annual revenue into 5 whole divided by 100. So we are applying the formula. Based on the formula, we can able to calculate the value. That value we can store inside this service tax. Okay. This is how we are calculating this service tax here. Now, for example, assume that here I'm having 6 records are available. So we can use the calculator. Through the calculator, we can able to do this calculation manually by spending some 2 to 5 minutes of time. Okay, fine. So here we are having some 6 records are available. Then we can do this calculation manually. Suppose if I'm having some hundreds of records, thousands of records, lakhs of records, what will you do? Will you do this calculation manually by using calculator for all these lakhs of records? No, we can't do that because it's a time consuming mechanism. It will take more time to do the calculation for all these lakhs of records. Now, in this case, instead of doing this kind of work manually by our own, we can make this process automated. Instead of doing this kind of operations manually, okay, by our own, we can make this process automated. For that one, if you want to generate some values for the fields based on a particular formula, based on a particular expression, if you want to generate the value for the field, then we can select the data type as formula. Then we can generate that field of type formula by selecting the data type formula here. Okay, now previously we have discussed 19 data types. During the field creation, we have discussed 19 data types. Now we are discussing 20th data type also here. We have five more. We'll see next. That will be the relationship topic over there. Now, so now here we are going to be using this a formula data type. Formula data type is used to create a field inside the object whose value will be generated by Salesforce automatically based on a formula or expression which we have specified. It will not be generating a sequence. If you want to generate the sequence numbers, then we can go with auto number fields. But this is not sequence, it will calculate the value dynamically at runtime based on a specific formula or expression. Based on that expression, whatever the result has been generated, the result will be storing inside your field automatically. So for that reason, if you want to generate the value for the field automatically based on a formula or expression, then we can go with the help of formula fields. So upon creating the field, select the data type as formula, and while creating the field, we have to indicate a formula or expression based on which the value should be generated for this field. Okay. Now in this case, once the formula field value has been generated by Salesforce, these values we can't modify. We can't edit these values. So because these values are purely read-only field, these will be freezed automatically. We can't change this formula field value because already we have handed over this responsibility to Salesforce itself. Once we have handed over the responsibility to Salesforce, it won't allow you to interfere in the value. It won't allow you to modify the value. Even though you are an administrator, even though you are a developer, through programming also this value cannot be editable. The value will be always fixed. That's what I told you here. During the data types concept, I told you, during the auto number data type, I told you, there are few system generated fields are available in Salesforce whose value will be generating by Salesforce automatically. Like we have ID field, created by, last modified by, auto number, we have formula, and then next we are having one more roll up summary. These are all our system generated fields whose value will be generating by Salesforce automatically, which can be editable by the users. Okay, now in this case, here you can raise a question. Sir, for example, we have this customer record, Praveen Kumar. Now, the annual revenue of this customer is some 18 lakhs. So, revenue has been generated, tax has been generated as 90,000. Suppose if I'm changing this value from 18 lakhs to 24 lakhs. If I'm updating this value from 18 lakhs to 24 lakhs, what will be the tax value then? 1,20,000 rupees. So in this case, if you're changing this value, automatically formula will be recalculated again. It will collect the latest value. The new value will be getting generated. It will change this value to 1,20,000. It will update the value automatically. That means whenever we are changing the source field, because this is service tax is generated based on what value? Annual revenue. So annual revenue is a source. Based on that income source, based on that annual revenue value, only we are generating the service tax. So if I'm changing this annual revenue value, if I'm changing that source field value, formula will be getting recalculated, a new value will be generated by Salesforce, that value will store inside that. Now, why I'm giving this point is in the interview point of view, they will raise a question. I want to change that formula field value. How? Generally, formula fields are purely read-only fields whose value cannot be editable through programming also. If you want to change that value, what we need to do? Change this annual revenue. That means change this source field. By changing the source field, we can update formula field value automatically here. Okay, but directly when you try to modify that service tax value, it won't allow. That means formula field value can't be editable because it's purely read-only field. We can't change that value. To change the value, we have to change that source field value. Okay, understand the concept here? Now, So in this case, whenever if you want to do this kind of calculations, then don't do these calculations manually with the help of some calculator. Make this kind of processes automated so we can reduce the manual work. Some operations we can do by our own, remaining operations we can make it hand over to that Salesforce system itself. My Salesforce application will take care of all these activities. Okay, understand the concept here? Now, so now in this case, okay, here you can raise a question. Sir, how many formula fields that we can add per an object? We don't have any limitations. We don't have any limitations here. Okay, we can create n number of formula fields. That already we know within an object we can create 500 custom fields. All the 500 custom fields we can make it as formula also, no problem. No limitations at all. Okay, we don't have any such limitations. Only these many number of formula fields to be get created inside the object. You can create a number of formula fields also for an object. Now, in this case, whenever we are creating a new field, we have to select the data type as formula because we are indicating that this is a formula field. We are not passing the value for this field manually. This field value will be generated by Salesforce automatically based on some formula or expression. That's what here formula fields will not be visible on the edit page. These are always visible on detail page of the record. That means after entering the data inside the fields, when you click on save button, record will be created. When you go to the detail page, there we can see this formula fields because formulas are always executing after inserting the record. Once the record has been inserted, once the record has been updated, that means after insertion, after updation, formula will be getting recalculated, the value will be getting generated, that value will place inside that field automatically by Salesforce. So that here we can see the formula fields only in detail page, not on edit page. But till now, whatever the fields we have created, those fields will be expecting some input values. So those are visible on the edit page. But the formula fields doesn't expect any input values. These are already having some formula. Based on the formula, it will be generating the value. So that here, these are always visible on detail page of the card. Okay? Understood the concept over here? Now. So in this case, how can we create this a formula field and what kind of functions that we can use upon preparing this formula? Now let me explain one by one. Okay? Now make a note of this one. Formula fields. Formula fields are the read-only system generated fields whose value will be generated by the Salesforce server automatically based on the specified formula or expression. That is, while creating the formula field, excuse me, while creating the formula field, we have to specify the formula or expression to be used to generate the value inside the field. Formula field values can be editable by the user or administrator. These are read-only fields which will be visible in the detail page of the record. While creating the formula field, we have to select the data type as formula. Now, formula field values will get updated once the source field value has been changed. Once the source field value has been changed, then the formula will be getting recalculated. We can create n number of formula fields for an object. Salesforce provides a set of ready-made functions which can be used to create the formula or expression as below. Done with these points? Next. So now let's see what are the various built-in functions that we have in Salesforce which we can use upon preparing the formula or expression. Now, let me explain those functions over here. Let's see a collection of functions. Let me explain each and every function, okay, one by one. You no need to make a note of this one. I will put into the document as well upon uploading here. Let's see the functions one by one. So upon preparing your formula, we can use these functions, either one or multiple also, we can mix together. Instead of doing these calculations manually, we can use these built-in functions. These includes some mathematical calculations, exponential calculations, logarithmic calculations, okay, trigonometrical calculations, string related calculations, date related calculations. All these things are available as part of this. Now, let's see. The first function, ABS function. ABS function means absolute function. Okay, ABS stands for absolute. Generally, what do you mean by absolute number? Positive number. Absolute number means positive number, which will be having plus. Okay, if it is a negative number, we are having minus symbol over here. If you are not having any sign, that means it will be positive. Now, in this case, for example, I have a negative number. I want to convert this negative number to positive. That means absolute value. In order to collect the absolute value of the given number, we are using the help of ABS function. Now, in this case, some ABS of minus 45.345. So whenever I'm passing a negative number, it will return the output as a positive number. That means the sign will be changing from negative to positive. That means only it will return the absolute value of the number. Absolute value means positive value. So whenever I'm passing a negative number, it will return positive value of the number. Suppose if I'm passing a positive number, then result will be again a positive here. Okay, because the main functionality of this absolute function is it should return the positive value. Already I have given the positive value, again it will be returning that same automatically by default over here. Okay, this is the first function. Second, SQRT function. SQRT means what? Square root, right? Whenever if you want to do some square root calculations over here, in that case, for example, I would like to collect that square root of a number here. I want to calculate the square root of a number. For example, okay, 256. Then in that case here, I would like to use that value here. Now I would like to specify 16. If I'm using this value here, 169, it will be returning the value 13. If I'm giving this value 625, square root of, okay, 625, that will be 25. Like that here, because square root means whole power 1 by 2. That already we know as part of our mathematics here. In this case, if you want to do this kind of calculations, then will you use any calculator, scientific calculator to do this one? Because in normal calculator, in basic calculator, we don't have this kind of calculations. Trigonometrical calculation, exponential calculation, okay, logarithmic calculation. We don't have this kind of functionalities in your normal, okay, basic calculator. To do that, we need the help of scientific calculator. Instead of using those calculators manually to do these calculations, we can use these ready-made functions given by Salesforce by default. So we have a function called as SQRT function, square root function. Whenever I'm passing a number to this SQRT function, it returns the square root value of that given number automatically. If I'm passing SQRT of 144, it returns output as 12. Okay, next. Third function, length. Basically, length function is used to calculate the number of characters available inside the string. Now, whenever we are doing some calculations in some cases, for example, assume that I want to do some validations. Upon entering the data, username and the password, there are some limitations are available. Username should be minimum 8 characters, maximum 15 characters, not more than that. That is the limitation given by the client. In that case, what will you do? We have to make sure username should be between 8 to 15 characters only over here. Then how can we do that here? How can we count how many characters available inside that username? So to count the number of characters available inside the string, we are using that length function. So length function is going to be returning one integer value which describes how many characters available inside the string, which includes the spaces also, which includes the special characters also, which includes alphanumerical values also, anything. It will be counting that. If I'm having any space, that space also counting as one character automatically by default here. Now, in that case, whenever if you want to count the number of characters available inside the string, we are using the help of length function here. Now, length of welcome to Hyderabad. So in this particular string, how many characters are available, it will be counting over here. Now, as part of length of welcome, we are going to be counting that there are 7 characters are available inside this. Now, like the similar way, next one, trim function. So generally, what do you mean by trim function? Basically, trim function is used to remove the white spaces. White spaces means blank spaces. So whatever the string that we have entered, whatever the content that we have entered before the string or after the string, not in between the words over here. Okay, not in between the words. Whatever the empty space that we have before the string or after the string, if we want to remove those empty spaces, then we can go with the help of trim function. So trim function is going to be removing the blank spaces available inside that particular string, which may be either left side or right side also here, either before the string or after the string. For example, I am having a string. In this string here, we have some blank spaces. Here we are having some blank spaces. If you want to eliminate this kind of blank spaces, we are using the help of trim function. Okay, next. Next one, upper function. Now, you know that basically upper function is used to convert the specified string with characters into uppercase letters. Whatever the string that you have supplied as input, in that string, if there is any lowercase letters are available, those will be converting into uppercase letters automatically over here. For that one, we are using upper function. If I am passing lowercase characters, it will return in the form of uppercase. If I am passing uppercase, again it will return uppercase also over here. Okay? Now, like the similar fashion, lower function. Lower function is used to convert the string characters from uppercase to lowercase. In order to represent the content in lowercase, we are using the help of lower function over here. Next, the floor function. Basically, floor function and the ceiling functions are used to round up the values. Whenever we are doing any calculation, upon generating any value based on some expression, based on some formula, whatever the value has been generated, if the value is available in the form of decimal places, then we can round up the value also. In order to round up the values, we are using the help of the two functions, either floor or ceiling function. Now, these are not okay new functions. These are already you know as part of your mathematics in the childhood. Now, so generally floor will be at the bottom here. Ceiling will be at the top. So whatever the value that we have, if you want to round up the value to the next number here, that means next number, at that time we can go to that ceiling function. If you want to round up the value to the previous number, we can go with the help of floor function here. Floor function is used to round up the value to the previous number, and the ceiling function is used to round up the value to next number over here. Like for example, assume that. For example, assume that I'm having some 5 years or 10 months of experience. If anybody asks you how much experience that we have, then we can say simply, I'm having around 6 years. Actually, I'm having 5 years or 10 months. If I'm completing 2 more months, then I will be having total 6 years of experience. So we are rounding up the value to next number over here. That is, I'm having overall 6 years of experience. Suppose, for example, here, assume that I'm having the age of some 30 years, 2 months here. If anybody asks you what is your age, we are indicating 30 years. That means we are going to round down the values to previous number here. Like the similar way depends upon the requirement. If you want to round up the value to the next number, we are using ceiling function. To round up the value to the previous number, we are using the help of floor function here. Okay. Now, next one, left function. So what exactly the left function and what is the use? Now, let's see. Suppose, for example, I have a record. I have a record. Now the record ID is, for example, some 00Q 4962, okay, IJ P 423. Assume that this is a record ID. Now tell me this record is what? Is it account record, contact record, case record, order record, lead record, campaign record, or what? The ID is starting with a 00Q. We have discussed.
Lead record.
Now, how do you know this record is belongs to which object? How can we check? You know this concept. Already we have discussed. Hmm. Now, this record is associated with the object which is having this ID 00, because that already told you for each record Salesforce is allocating one 18 characters alphanumerical number that is called as record ID. In that record ID, first three characters are nothing but your object ID to indicate to which object this record is associated. Remaining 15 characters are the actual record ID. From that actual record ID, last three characters are nothing but your checksum value or transaction code. That already we have discussed here. Here we are having first three characters are what? 00Q. 00Q means what object here?
Lead object. Lead object.
Right.
Lead.
Correct. Now, 00Q. Long ago we have discussed.
Contact object.
Now, 00Q means what?
Lead object.
Lead
It's
object.
a lead object. Lead object. We know that object IDs, like campaign object ID is 701, lead 00Q, account 001, contact 003, opportunity 006, case 500, solution 501, order 801. And then we are having that objects like as a group 00G, user 005, task 00T, event 00U. Like that, we are having so many object IDs are available. We have to remember these basic object IDs here at least. Okay. Now, so now this is the ID here. Now this ID is nothing but what? The first three characters. Now in this case here, this is the record ID that we have. Now for this record ID, we are having the two, okay, sides are available. This is the left side, this is the right side here. Now my object ID is available where? Left side or right side? Left side. So now this is my object ID over here. This is the left side. That means in this particular object record ID, whatever the three characters are available from the left side, I want to collect these three. In that case, if you want to collect some specific number of characters from the left side of the string, then we can use the help of a function called as left function. So, left function is used to collect some specific number of characters from the left side of the string over here. For example, have given one example also for your understanding here. Left half welcome comma 3. So now welcome is actual string. From that one, from left side, I want 3 characters. So it will be returning the 3 characters over here, WEL. These are the 3 characters are available from the left side over here. Like the similar way, we need to collect that some specific number of characters from right side. In that case, we are using the help of right function. Like for example, come to a scenario. Today, I went to that ATM machine in order to withdraw some money from my bank account. I have withdrawn some 5,000 rupees in my account over here. Once you are done with that transaction, you will be getting one notification, right? You will be getting one alert, right? Like, dear customer, your account number has been debited with some 5,000 rupees. This is your net available balance. We are getting one SMS notification, one email alert. In this particular SMS notification or email alert, they're including your account number also, right? Yes. Will they including the complete account number? No. Then last digits. How many? 3 or 4? 4 digits here. Last 4 digits they are going to be including over here. They're including whatever the number that we have. From that number, last 4 digits they are going to be including over here. That means here this is the number. For example, I'm having that number here. Now this is my account number over here. What they will include in this case? Last 4 digits here. That means 3896. That means what? This is what side? This is what side here? This is the left side. This is the right side here. From this right side, how many characters they are collecting? 4. In this case, if you want to collect some specific number of characters, from the right side of the string over here, in that case, we are going to be using the help of right function. So right function is used to collect some specific number of characters from right side of the string. Left function is used to collect some specific number of characters from left side of the string. So based on your requirement, which function is suitable, we have to decide, we have to use that. Okay, next. Next, in some cases, you can raise a question. Sir, for example, I want to collect the characters from the middle somewhere. So in that case, we have a function called as substring function. Basically, substring function is used to collect some specific number of characters from the string from a specific index position. If you want to collect some 5 characters from the 4th position from the string, then we can go with the help of substring. That means I don't want to collect the characters from the left side. I don't want to collect the characters from the right side over here. In that case, if you want to collect some specific number of characters from the specified location from the string, then we can go with the help of substring function. For example, here, I'm using this. Here we have to pass a string, substring of string. In that one, I would like to collect 4, 5. From the 4th position, I would like to collect 5 characters over here. Now, this is the first one, second, third, and the 4th. That means C is the 4th one here. From the 4th position, how many characters you want? 5. So now this is the first one, second, third, 4th, and empty space also 5. So that it will be returning these characters over here. In order to collect some specific number of characters from the specified string, we are using the help of this substring function. Okay? Clear? Next one. Today function. Basically, today function is used to collect the today's Salesforce server date, not our local system date here. Because for my local system, I am the administrator. I can set any date whatever I want. But I want to collect the today's exact date. So for that reason, in order to collect your today's Salesforce server date, we are using the help of today function, which will be returning your date value based on your time zone. So now depends upon the time zone, whatever we have selected. Upon creating the Salesforce account, we have selected the country as India. Okay, in India, we are having a specific time zone. Now, in that case here, as part as part of India, whatever the date value that we're representing, that will be in the form of okay DD, YY format. If I'm selecting the time zone, that means country are some US related. In US are following the date format as DD, YY format here. Depends upon the country, depends upon the time zone which we have selected, it will be representing the date value to you here. So now here in this case here, we are collecting the completed date by using today function, which will be returning the today's Salesforce server date. But in some cases, you can raise a question, sir, I don't want the completed date. I want only year number. I want only month number. I want only the date value here. In that case, if you want to collect only the specific portion of the date, it may be day number also, it may be month number also, it may be year number. At that time, we have three separate functions are available. Like year function, which is used to collect only the year value here. And the month function, which is used to collect only the month number. Day function, which is used to collect the actual date. Day function name is not date, it will be day simply. Day function, which is used to collect that date value here. So, in order to collect that particular date values, we are using the help of this date related functions also over here. Okay, next. The next one, if function. Generally, if is one of the conditional statement in programming languages. When you go to any programming language, it may be C programming also, C++, Pascal, Basic, Fortran, or it may be Java, .NET, Apex, Python, JavaScript, wherever you go, in every programming language, we are having few conditional statements. In that one, the most powerful conditional statement is if conditional statement. If is one of the conditional statement which we can use to check some conditions. Based on the condition result, we can able to perform certain operations. Now, excuse me. In this case, if you want to check certain conditions, as part of formulas, I would like to check some conditions over here. Like for example, I would like to calculate the tax. I would like to calculate the tax over here. Suppose, for example, if the customers, okay, industry type A, some banking, for the banking customers, we are charging 7% of tax. For the remaining people, 5% here. Now, in that case, what needs to be done? I would like to check before doing this service tax calculation. I want to check the condition. What is the industry type of this customer? If it is banking, then tax will be 7%. For the non-banking customers, 5% over here. Like that, I want to check some conditions. Based on the condition, we can do some calculation. At that time, if you want to check some specific conditions, then we are using the help of if function. So we can able to add one or more number of conditions also. If the conditions are satisfied, it will return the value true, or else it will return the value false. Whatever the conditions we have specified, if all the conditions are satisfied, it returns the value true, or else it returns the value false. So that in order to check some specific conditions, we are using the help of okay if condition function. Okay, next. Next function is image function. So basically, image function is used to represent an image on your records detail page. On the record detail page, if you want to show some picture, some image, it may be any photo, whatever it may be, anything. If you want to show some images, okay, then we can go with the help of this, okay, image function. Generally, to show the images on your Salesforce record, we don't have any data type. We are having email data type, phone data type, we are having website data type, and then we are having like text data type, all these things, but we don't have any data type to show the images. If you want to show some images on your record detail page, we are using the help of a function that is image function, which is used to represent the required image on your record detail page based on the need. So for that reason, as part of this image function, we have four parameters are available. Four input values we need to supply. The first one, path of that image, where exactly the image is located. So where exactly the image is located, we have to specify the path of the image here. That is the first input value. Second one, alternative text. That means whenever I'm placing the mouse pointer on the image, what message you want me to show? What alternative text? What help text or what tooltip text you want to show to the people, that we can specify with the help of alternative text. And the third one, height of the image, and the fourth one, width of the image. We need to pass these four values. That means with what height, with what width you want to show the image, that we can control here. In this case, passing this first two parameters are mandatory. Height and width is optional. That's what I have enclosed height and width again into that square braces over here, because these two are not mandatory, these two are optional. If I am passing the height and width, then based on that specified height and width, image will be getting visible. If I am not passing any height and width, the actual image height will be getting considered, actual image size will be getting considered over here. It may be height and width, the actual image size, height and width will be getting considered by Salesforce. So that if you want to show the image with the required size, then we can pass height and width also both. Okay, next. The next one, case function here. Now, basically, this case function is also called as switch statement in programming languages. In programming languages, this is called as a switch statement. If conditional statement, switch statement, these two are the most popular programming language conditional statements. In every programming language, this if condition, switch statement both are common. Now, that switch statement is called as case function as part of your Salesforce. Now, so basically, case function is used to compare a variable value or an expression value with the multiple branches over here. In order to compare a variable value or expression value with the multiple branches, we are using the help of case function. Now, that's what here we are comparing with the various branches. This is the branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, like that branch n. This is a variable or expression. I want to compare this value with this branch 1. Suppose if it is matching, it returns this value. Suppose if it is not matching, then it will compare with the second branch here. If it is matching, it will return this value. Suppose if it is not matching, it will check with the third one here. Like that, it will check with the fourth one and last one. If any one of this branch value is not matching, then it will return default value over here. Okay. So in that case, in order to compare a variable value or an expression value with the multiple cases or multiple branches, we are using the help of case function. If any of the branch value is matching with the variable or expression, it returns the corresponding branch value automatically. Suppose if all the branch values are not matching, it will return say default value automatically by default. Okay, next. The next one, the last one, text function. Basically, text function is used to collect the currently selected value from the pick list control. Whenever we are dealing with some pick list control, pick list will be having so many options inside that. From those options, which option we have selected right now? What option we have selected here? In order to collect the currently selected value from the pick list control, we are using the help of text function. These are the various functions are available. Along with this one, we have some more functions are also available given by Salesforce, but those are not required over here. Okay, clear now? So whenever we are preparing your own formula or expression, if any functions are required, then directly we can use these functions also. But it's not mandatory to use all the things. Whenever it is required, you can use it or else leave it, no issues. Now, let me place these functions. Now, by using these functions, we can prepare our own formula and then we can able to generate the value over here. Now, let's come to that. For example, we are preparing a formula. Like when coming to this scenario here, these are the fields are available here. We are calculating service tax. Service tax will be what? 5% of revenue. So we are using an expression. That means formula. Annual revenue into 5 whole divided by 100. This is a formula. Now annual revenue will be of data type what? What is the data type of annual revenue field? Currency, right. Now currency field over here. Now we are getting that 5% of revenue. This will be of type what? Whenever I'm executing this formula, it will be returning some value, right? This value will be of type what? Again, currency. Okay,
Currency.
again, currency.
Currency.
This is also currency. That means we are getting a part of that currency value over here. That will be service tax. Now, in this case, whenever we are generating any formula or expression, depends upon your business need, that formula or expression will return the value here. Now, whatever the value written by the formula return type can be 8 types in Salesforce. Formula return type can be 8 types in Salesforce. All the data types will not be supporting by Salesforce. Whenever we are designing a formula or expression, formula return type can be either a text type, either a number type, either a percent type, either a currency type, either a date type, either a time type, either a date time type, either a checkbox type. These are the 8 types. Whatever the formula return type that we have, formula return type can be either a string, that means text type, or a number, or a percent, or a currency, or a date, or a time, or a date time, or a boolean. That means checkbox. These are the 8 types of formula return type can support. Remaining data type Salesforce won't support that. Okay, so whenever we are preparing a formula or expression, the formula return type can be any one of these 8 types over here. Okay, now, so in this case here, how can we create the formula field? What is the navigation that we used to follow? Okay, let me give you the navigation over here. Okay, understood the concept now? Next, make a note of this one. Now, while creating the formula field, the formula or expression return type can be any of the below 8 types. Now, the formula return type can be either a text type or a number type or a currency type or a percent type or a date type or a time type or a date time type or a checkbox type. So whatever the formula that we are going to prepare, the formula or expression can return the value any one of these 8 types over here. Done with this? Now, then whenever we are creating formula field, so what is the data, what is the data type we need to select, and what is the navigation we used to follow to create the formula field, we'll see. While creating a formula field, we have to follow the below navigation. Click on the required objects tab. For example, some accounts. Click on setup menu. Click on edit object link. Click on fields and relationships link. Click on new button to create a new field. Select the data type as formula. Select the data type as formula. Click on next button. Enter the formula field label and the name. Select the formula return type from the list. Click on next button. Enter the required formula or expression inside the formula editor. Click on check syntax button. Click on next button. Select the visible checkbox to make the field visible to all profile users. Click on save button.
Sir, the above functions what we have discussed, right? Those are related to formula expression only, right?
Right. Done with this navigation? Now, so upon creating this formula fields, there is a navigation we have to follow. So while creating the field, we have to select the data type as formula. And upon creating the field, we have to specify the formula or expression. That means based on what formula or expression you want to generate the value, we have to specify the formula or expression over here. Once the formula has been getting generated, then we can check the syntax by using check syntax button. Okay, by using this check syntax button, we can check the syntax of that formula. That means whatever the formula that we have prepared, whatever the expression that we have prepared, whether it is having any syntactical mistakes or not, we can check it out. So that here we have a button called as the check syntax button. If there is any syntactical mistakes are available, it will list out those syntactical mistakes there itself, or else it will be showing that no errors has been found. From there, we can go ahead, we can create this formula field as well here. Okay, now. So this is how we can able to follow the navigation in order to create formula fields. So while creating this formula fields, we can prepare simple formula and the cross object formulas both. Okay, like in the previous sessions, during that reports concept, we have discussed that functionalities over here. Cross object, okay, filters also. Like as a field filters, cross filters, row limit filters we have discussed. That means here cross filters means what? We are applying the conditions on related objects here. Field filter means the conditions will be applying on the same object over here. Okay, now like the similar way here also, upon creating this particular formula field, this is the formula field we have created. Upon creating the formula field, we have selected the source field as annual revenue. This is the source field. Source field also there in the same object. Formula field also on the account object. Source field also on the same object here. But in some cases, so now the formula field is on account, but the source field is on a different object over here. I have one more object is available. In that different object, I'm having source field over here. In that case, we can create cross object formulas also. Depends upon your application requirement, we can create simple formulas and then cross object formulas also. Both are possible as part of implementation. But in the real-time implementation, cross-object formulas are very, very important. In so many places, we are using those functions here. Okay. So upon using this cross-object formulas, how many references that we can have, everything we'll see one by one here. Okay. Then how can we create this formula fields? We'll see in tomorrow's session with the practical. From tomorrow onwards, I would like to extend the session till 7:30. Okay, because today very less people will be coming over here. So because yesterday was that New Year, so many people may be in vacation. So from tomorrow onwards, we'll be extending the session from 5 to 7:30 so that we can spend some more time and then we can discuss some more functionalities. Because our next week we will be having some holidays on the occasion of the festivals over here. That's what I would like to utilize this time. Okay, so we can spend some more time, we can sit some more time, we can do that more functionalities over here. Okay, but do the practice on regular basis. Don't make the things pending. Try to complete the assignments as soon as possible here. Okay,
I
thank
have a
you.
question. Can I